It's Adriana, and my number 3 of all time is American Beauty. American Beauty used to be my number 1 favorite of all time, and it's hard. It's hard to decide that. The movies in my top 3 have all been number 1 at some point. They kind of reverse within each other a lot. I make everybody watch this movie who hasn't seen it. I mean, it was pretty popular, it was pretty acclaimed, everyone knew how good this movie was. It won 5 Oscars. American Beauty is the story of Lester Burnham, who's played by Kevin Spacey, and one of my favorite performances of all time. He's so good in this movie. Kevin Spacey is just a brilliant actor, and he's one of my favorites, and this movie is like a real showcase for him. Lester Burnham and his wife, Carol, and their marriage, which isn't going very well, and they like to put on this facade that it is. And that's really what this movie is about. It's about, the tagline of the film is "Look Closer." And it's basically, behind closed doors, you don't really know what's going on with your neighbor or your friends, or you don't know, the real story behind people's lives, because most people, in this movie, the point is that, people try to portray lifestyles and happiness that isn't true. It's just an illusion. And I really love that theme. It reminds me almost of Revolutionary Road, which is actually directed by the same director, Sam Mendes. This whole thing where you seem like you have the perfect life, all American dream, but there's so much more that there is to life that these people would never really achieve. So American Beauty is really this movie about, everyone putting on this show. So we have the marriage of Lester and Carol that is basically really on the rocks, and Carol's played by Annette, who's also really brilliant in this film. Carol's really obsessed with, portraying this image of success, or she says her lines like, "In order to be successful, one must always portray an image of success." So that's really, it really speaks to the whole theme of this film. And Lester is more just kind of wallowing in his depression. He's just kind of had enough. Something finally triggers in him where he realizes, this is not the life I want. I'm going to do what I want. And this is mainly triggered by his attraction to his daughter's friend, Angela, played by Mena Suvari, and his daughter is played by Thora Birch. All great performances in this film. And so Lester's kind of becoming obsessed with Angela. It's really embarrassing for his daughter Jane, and she starts to become involved with her neighbor, newly moved in neighbors, Ricky Fitz, played by Wes Bentley, one of my favorite characters in any movie. I really, really love the character of Ricky Fitz. And his parents also have some weird stuff going on. Don't really know what's wrong with his mother, played by Alison Janney. She just is, something's not right with her mentally, and his dad is like this army guy, this colonel, and he's very, very homophobic, and he's very racist and crazy and strict and violent and just all these awful things to Ricky, and clearly you can see that his mother has been affected by him too. And things just start to unravel with all these people who you think you know about, you think you know who they are and what they portray, and you kind of buy into their facade a bit, but then things are revealed in this movie, and that's the whole thing. Look closer. You don't know about people. You don't know exactly who they are. It's not always the face you put on. And there's so many themes in this movie. There's so much in this movie that, it's commonly studied in film classes. You can really dissect a lot of the things. One thing in the movie is a big use of red and roses. Yes, I wore this dress appropriately for American Beauty. There's this whole, there's color, there's so many, elements to this film. I don't want to get too into it because it's just a review. I'm not going to make a whole analysis. The film is written by Alan Ball, who's a brilliant, brilliant writer. I love him for this movie. He also has another film that I really, really enjoyed that most people probably haven't seen, but it's called Towelhead, and they actually changed the title of it because, I don't know, it was too offensive or something, and now it's called Nothing is Private, so I don't really know which title the film goes by, but whatever, it's also a really great film. He also writes True Blood, and he wrote 6 Feet Under, the television series. Both series I need to get into, obviously, because such great people are involved in both of those series, and I love Alan Ball and his very satirical and witty and just really just smart way of writing. The dialogue in this movie, American Beauty, is so great. Just everything. And the direction, like Sam Mendes, I love him. He's one of my favorite directors as well. And he really does so much with the direction of this film, like the shots that are... I guess I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say. But if you watch the movie, you'll see how, like, unique some of the shots are. The score for this movie, it's kind of like that really classic movie score. I mean, it's kind of really famous to this film. There's just so much to this movie, and every time I watch it, this is how I know. Usually, this is how I know when a movie is one of my favorites. It's if I can watch it repeat times and always leave as though it was the first time I watched it. It always affects me the same way. I mean, maybe, like, with a deeper understanding, but the emotions that I feel, it's not like, oh, I've seen this already, so I'm kind of over it. I always end the movie, and I get nervous for the ending, and it ends, and it makes me feel so many things. It makes me think so many things about life, and this movie is a really big eye-opener about a lot of the issues we have in contemporary life. It packs a punch. It makes me feel so much, and I always feel the same after watching American Beauty. I always feel like a little overwhelmed and just clouded with so many things that this movie is saying about life. It's funny, too. Like, it's a drama, but it's such... And this is because of Alan Ball, his writing. I feel like this is just the kind of writer he is. It's so darkly funny. This movie makes me laugh out loud, like, a lot. It's a funny film in a dark way. But it's such a commentary on life, and it's so, I don't know. It's so darkly funny, but yet also really powerful and dramatic, and it has a lot of emotions going on in it, and it's a very powerful film to watch. And I love it so much for all of those reasons, and especially because I always feel the same after watching it, and I just think it's so smart and so relevant, and I think it will always be a relevant film. So, that's my review of American Beauty, my number 3 film of all time, and only 2 videos left, so my top 2 films are going to come at you very soon. Thank you so much for watching my review, and if you want to talk about the film, please comment below, and subscribe if you like what you see, and yeah, thanks so much.